guys, so in this video we're going to discuss hoop tubing types and sizes. I have some offcuts here. We've got some HDPE tubing and some polypro tubing. So the main difference that people talk about with polypro and HDPE is that polypro is just a little bit lighter than HDPE. So people that like to do tricks, really fast, lightning speed, they tend to use polypro tubing. Beginners tend to use HDPE more because it's just that little bit heavier. But that's not always the case. There are some other differences too. So polypro is also a little bit denser, a little bit harder, and some people just find that a bit more responsive than HDPE. HDPE is a bit softer and it has a bit more give, so on-body hooping is a lot easier with HDPE usually. So another big difference between polypro and HDPE is that polypro is more likely to crack in cold temperatures and HDPE is more likely to bend in warm temperatures. So if you live somewhere with really extreme temperatures, you may prefer to use polypro if you're living somewhere really hot, and you would probably prefer to use HDPE if you're living somewhere that's really cold. And so as for hoop diameters, the bigger the hoop, the slower it's going to rotate, right? So if you're a complete beginner, you usually want something that goes up to around your belly button. That means that the hoop is going to rotate nice and slow so you can learn on-body hooping. Once you're doing off-body hooping, so things on your arms, stuff like that, you probably want something a bit smaller and also a bit lighter. So that's when you're going to want to have your thinner tubing and lighter tubing like polypro. Using doubles can get really tiresome on your arms when you're practicing, so people tend to use polypro, usually 5/8 or sometimes 3/4 inches. So as for the widths of our tubing and the thicknesses, we've got our 5/8 HDPE, our 3/4 inch HDPE, our 7/8 inch HDPE, and then our 5/8 polypro, our 11/16 polypro, and our 3/4 polypro. So our most popular sizes are our 5/8 inch and our 3/4 inch. So 5/8 is usually what people use for their really fast hooping, sometimes for doubles and quads, things like that. 3/4 inches is really good for on-body, much more popular size for on-body. We have 7/8 inches, which is quite large. That is really good for people that are doing exercise type hooping or just want something really big and heavy for on-body, for beginners. And then we've got 11/16. This one is obviously in between our 5/8 and 3/4 inch sizes for the width. However, the wall thickness is much thicker. That means even though it's in between 5/8 and 3/4 for the width, it is quite a bit heavier than our 3/4 inch tubing. So people mostly tend to use this for on-body hooping, especially if you're going to use several hoops and you want to do body splitting. Another useful thing with the heaviness of it is it's quite good for doing things like balancing. So if you're trying to balance it on your head, for example, the extra weight really helps with that. I hope you've learned something from this video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.